Good evening and welcome. This is the Marion City Council meeting for Thursday, May 17th, 2018. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Draper.
Here.
Ms. Etzel. Mr. Jensen.
Present.
Mayor Adewasili.
Here.
Ms. Gedalia. Here. Mr. Brandt.
Here.
Mr. Sternad.
Here.
Thank you. This moment we have a moment of silence. Thank you. We have two proclamations today, and I will come down for it. First is a proclamation for Kids to Parks Day. I assume our Parks Director is going to accept this. Will you? Okay, you ready? Whereas May 19th, 2018 is the 5th Kids to Parks Day organized and launched by the National Park Trust. And whereas Kids to Parks Day empowers kids and encourages families to get outdoors and visit America's parks. And whereas it is important to introduce a new generation to our nation's parks because of the decline in park attendance over the last decades. And whereas we should encourage children to lead a more active lifestyle to combat the issues of childhood obesity, diabetes, hypertension, and hypercholesterolemia. And whereas Kids to Parks Day is open to all children and adults across the country to encourage a large and diverse group of participants. And whereas Kids to Parks Day will broaden children's appreciation for nature and the outdoors. Now therefore, I, Nicholas Abu-Asili, Mayor of the City of Marion, do hereby proclaim Saturday, May 19th, 2018 as Kids to Parks Day in the City of Marion and urge residents to make time on May 19th, 2018 to take the children in their lives to a neighborhood, state, or national park. Oh, welcome. I would just add that we have a great park system here in Marion, and we're very proud of it. And you guys work very hard to make our parks a great place for all people to visit and spend time in and interact with each other and with nature. So, thank you. It's getting better all the time. Okay, and we have another proclamation for Poppy Days. Is there anyone here to accept the proclamation? Welcome. Come on forward. Hi. And you tell us your name?
Dawn Barnes.
Dawn Barnes. Welcome. Okay. Whereas freedom is a cherished privilege to be treasured by all citizens of the City of Marion, Iowa, and whereas this privilege has not been free but carries with it immeasurable sacrifices by our veterans, and whereas in yearly observation of said sacrifices I hereby honor the veterans and their importance in the preservation of our freedoms. And whereas the poppy is a symbol of remembrance for all veterans who served this great country and aid the living veterans and their families. Now therefore, I, Nicholas Abu-Asili, Mayor of the City of Marion, Iowa, do hereby proclaim May 19th and 20th, 2018 as American Legion Auxiliary Poppy Days, and urge all citizens of the city of Marion to pause and honor our veterans by wearing the poppy, the American Legion's memorial flower. Did you want a picture? Okay. Make the smile just a little bit longer. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And I will just point out that I still have the flower that you gave us last year. Right here.
Got one here too. Got two over here.
Okay. I think we're down to the consent calendar. Councilman Jensen.
Okay, Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent calendar. This will include items number 1 through 31F, which will encompass resolution numbers 26863 through 26881, and we will poll and discuss separately item number 16, which is resolution number 26871, approving change order number 1 with the Boris Brothers Construction.
Second.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded to approve the consent calendar as presented for items 1 through 15, which is resolution numbers 26863 through 26870, and items 17 through 31, which includes resolutions 26872 through 26881. Discussion? Okay, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Okay, the motion is approved. Can you
Now-
make a motion for number 16?
I'll make a motion that we approve item number 16, resolution number 26871, approving change order number 1 with Boris Brothers Construction regarding the 3600 Winslow Road property disposal project in the amount of $15,153.60.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 26871, approving change order number 1 with Boris Brothers Construction, Inc. regarding the 3600 Winslow Road property disposal project in the amount of $15,153.60, but I think we have a...
Yeah, I have asked to have this item pulled and reconsidered for a lower amount. If you can amend the resolution. I got another quote from the contractor today that would lessen the cost, save the city some money, of $11,888 instead of the $15,153.60.
$11,888?
Yes.
Okay. Would you make a motion to amend? the
Yeah,
motion?
like, go ahead.
Even 11,888. No cents.
No sense.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to amend item number 16, resolution number 26871, to change the amount from $15,153.60 to $11,888.
Second?
Okay, so it was moved by Councilman Jensen and seconded by Councilwoman Gadela to amend resolution number 26871 so that the amount is $11,888. Any discussion on amending the motion? Okay, all those in favor of the amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Okay, so now we have an amended motion to approve resolution 26871, approving change order number 1 with Boris Brothers Construction regarding 3600 Winslow Road property disposal project in the amount of $11,888. Any discussion on the amended motion? Okay, seeing that there's none, we'll vote. All those in favor of resolution number 26871 as amended, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. The motion is approved. I'll turn over the gavel for the next section to Mayor Pro Tem.
I make a motion to approve the consent calendar with Mayor Abou-Osley's abstention from voting and discussion regarding the following items as presented. Item number 32, A, B, and C.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Will and a second by Paul. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion
And
carries.
abstention.
And abstention. And I will give the gavel back to Mayor.
Okay, at this time, we have a public hearing regarding the proposed adoption of a fiscal year 2017-2018 budget amendment. The public hearing is now open. Would you like to summarize what we're doing here?
Yes, Your Honor. By state law, we have to amend the budget whenever we anticipate exceeding our budgeted items with actual expenditures. So staff has identified several items that we feel the need to do this. You should have a memo in your packet. I don't know if you don't, I can put it on the overhead. But that lists out several items totaling a little over $6.7 million of items that we feel need to amend the budget to stay in compliance with state code. By far the largest is we did refinance some bonds
It might be
last
helpful.
fall.
I'm sorry, it might be helpful to put it just for people here to see. You don't mind? Thank you. Can it be expanded a little bit?
Have any binoculars?
The other way. Oh, there we go. Okay.
The largest item is the refinancing of the 2009 bonds that we did last fall for $3.8 million. We put in there kind of a contingency. We're going to have to start paying some money on the GLD hotel project. Not knowing what that was going to be, we just kind of threw in $1 million estimate. We anticipate that's going to be less than that, of course, but we just wanted to kind of err on the high side. And then with some bonds that we issued here in 2018, just some estimated payments. And then you can kind of go down the line. We had some retiree payouts, additional legal expenses, kind of catching up for some legal expenses that hadn't been billed to us for a while, some defibrillators, some police overtime, new parks, New Holland tractor, and you can see the list as it gets smaller and smaller all the way down. But really just to rearrange the budget items in the state forms and then, of course, not exceed the budgeted items. We just are anticipating a need for this budget amendment that we need to do here before May 31st this year.
Any discussion or questions? Oh, I'm sorry. I think we're done with the, is there any more to?
No?
Okay, we'll get to questions, I guess, when it comes to the resolution. All right. Is there anyone here to speak in favor of this measure? Anyone here to speak in opposition? Okay, the public hearing is now closed.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor. This will be for a motion to approve resolution number 26882, approving the FY 2017-2018 budget amendment.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 26882, approving the fiscal year 2017-18 budget amendment. Now discussion.
Yeah, I just had a question for Chief McHale. I think it was $107,000 overtime. Is that correlated to the staffing issues that you've been talking about lately?
Honestly, this year, I think I can attribute most of it to, could it be? Yes, but I think most of it be I had some key injuries to supervisors that took them out of service for several months, and I had a homicide investigation that ate up quite a bit of money. So I think that's where the bulk of it went. And then I've been putting extra staff in the communications unit during peak times. And so, yeah, I'm down on people, but we've been trying to be very cognizant of what we're doing and trying to, use comp time and adjust hours as we can.
If I recall, that's quite a bit less than what it was last year, the overtime.
I did a better job this year than apparently. No, I don't have a clue.
It's quite a bit less.
I'm sorry?
I think it is quite a bit less from my memory.
Okay.
I don't have a benchmark of that, but just given the presentation on Tuesday and talking about staffing up and having a supervisor on, I didn't know if that was correlated, so I was just curious.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I got one question. On the top item to refinance Series 2009 GO bonds, just explain to me, I think I'm pretty good at accounting, but what I don't understand is if we're just refinancing, why does that have to show up as an expense? From a cash flow standpoint, if you're doing financial statements, that's an in and an out, doesn't ever hit the income statement for the financial statements I'm used to. So is this kind of a city policy or the city accounting standard that is different than what I'm used to?
Well, I think it is a little different than maybe what you're used to, Steve, but what we had done is we had budgeted a payment for the 2009 bonds, and I don't know exactly what that amount was, but maybe it was $300,000 or $400,000. But when we refinanced the amount, we were refinancing the entire balance left on those 2009 bonds. So instead of making that maybe $300,000 payment, we had to pay off the entire $3.6 million balance. So that was not a budgeted item, and it's not netted. We don't net the revenue coming in and then the payoff going out. You do have to show the full expenditure and revenue coming in. So it is that $3 million is an unbudgeted item that we have to reflect.
So we'd be showing it as a cash inflow and then a cash outflow.
Correct.
All right. Now, that's probably going to answer the same question also on a couple of the insurance claims. So if you got insurance money coming in, that's being shown as an income source, and then
we do that,
show
that as a revenue source, and then the expenditure, the additional payment, as an expenditure. Our auditors really do not like us netting those two amounts together.
Again, different than what I'm used to doing. We would have just netted it out and moved on.
Yeah.
So I got to get used to a little bit of a change where everything gets grossed up. I mean, I understand it with the policies. I just need to make sure I'm understanding what I'm reading. One overall question, as far as these overall changes compared to past years, how do these total amounts compare to the adjustment at this time of year to past years?
Well, I think this one's quite a bit higher than normal because we have a bond refinancing in this one.
If you take the top two lines out, how does it compare?
It would be very comparable, I think.
Okay.
Okay. Other discussion? All those in favor of resolution number 26882, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Okay, the motion is approved. For this next one, I will turn over the gavel to Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay. Paul?
Yes, Your Honor. I have resolution number 26,883, resetting a date of meeting for June 7, 2018, at which it is proposed to take action on the issuance of urban renewal, annual appropriation, tax increment, revenue bonds, in the principal amount not to exceed $4,500,000.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Paul and a second by Will. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And any abstentions?
Yes.
Mayor, okay.
Okay, next I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution number 26884, approving a memorandum of understanding with Prospect Meadows.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 26884, approving the memorandum of understanding with Prospect Meadows. Discussion? I think we all got that by email.
Yep.
Any discussion on the motion? Okay. All those in favor of resolution number 26884, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Right. The motion is approved. Next, we have, under police, discussion regarding Marion Police 100-Day Challenge.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. It's an honor to be in front of you tonight. I'm going to start off with just a real quick story because Draper does that to me all the time, and he's going to have to listen. So I'm going to flash back to 1992. I was a district officer on the west side of Kansas City, and at the time it was a very dangerous part of Kansas City, and there's a street that runs down the middle of it called Southwest Boulevard. And at the time, we were getting hit with burglaries pretty significantly down in that area. And my sergeant told me, you better go shake some doors and catch these guys. I'm like, okay, no problem. So I'm cruising around that night looking at, checking businesses and doors in the dark. And lo and behold, I'm behind a business and I see a crack in a door. Big building, so I radio for backup and I go up and I peek in the door and there's these guys there and they're working on these big vats. Okay, so I'm like, obviously they're not, criminals. They're in there working. So I go in and talk to these guys. And they're really genuine guys, and they're really working on these big vats. And I'm like, what are y'all doing here at 3 in the morning? And they're like, we're starting a brewery. And we've been here 24/7, 365 for about 2 years now. And I got to know these guys, and I would check on them every month for about a year after that when I was in that district. You now know that brewery as Boulevard Brewing Company. That's one of the largest independent brewers in the United States. So a personal relationship that I built by shaking doors a long time ago in Kansas City made an impact on me. And something that we're doing here, and a lot of the things that we've been doing with breaking down the city into beats, okay? Taking smaller bites of the city where our officers then have ownership of certain areas. About 4 months ago, we started a program where at night, it's winter, it's cold, right? So we developed these little door hangers, and what our officers would do is they would go out in the middle of the night and they would shake doors and look at our businesses looking for opening doors. You would not believe how many open doors we found on our businesses in Marion. And so what we would do is we would call the business owners. And from that, we realized that, hey, we're way behind on our emergency contact information. It was really troublesome to get a hold of these people in the middle of the night. But we also got a lot of positive feedback when they'd come in the next morning, come to their front door, get this door hanger and know that the police department had been there checking on their business overnight. Because 24/7, 365, we're ambassadors for the city of Marion, right? I mean, we're your best messengers out there possible. So this is the point where I thank you for giving me Sunshine McDonald, my crime analyst. And it's also the point where I thank you for spending the money that you spent recently on GIS capability for the city and investing in her for the capacity. So we're slowly building our capacity at the department. We're now looking at, let's just talk about businesses and building relationships with the businesses in our community. Part of the strategic plan for the police department moving forward that I'll unveil in a couple months is to be able to support the economic development of Marion, right? Make sure that they're safe, make sure they want to come here and do their businesses. So we're drilling down and we're able to see where every business lies. We're also going to, and this is what it looks like when you break down the businesses by who we think owns it, and then you lay it across the roll call room so everybody can see every business by each beat. Each piece of paper represents all the businesses in those beats. And from that, I issued my department a 100-day challenge. Okay, and so what that challenge is in the next 100 days, every beat officer that works for me that we've already identified the businesses in their beats, they will make a personal visit to every business within their beat. We worked with the other city department heads to build a packet of information that the officer is going to walk in the door with. It has information from the library, from the water department, from services. Amber helped us with a lot of informational stuff on the city. It's got a Parks and Rec guide. It's got the officer's business card in there in case they ever have questions or need anything from the department. But it's also got an emergency contact card that the officer will fill out for them, introduce themselves to the manager, bring it back. from that, we'll feed it into the city system, we'll feed it into our systems. And it's about building relationships with those individuals. I think we had no idea how many businesses we really had until you start mapping it out and looking at it on a piece of paper. So what we hope to accomplish in the next 100 days is to touch every business. We've been doing it for about 24 hours now, and they've already touched 50 businesses. And so, with the growth and what we want to do is we want to continue to be proactive. If we allow our department to get in, in the next few years to get in just a completely reactive mode, it takes a lot of the stuff that we can do proactively to be ambassadors off the table. And so that's just one of the things I wanted to brief you about that we're doing out there to try to be ambassadors. It'll definitely fit into our strategic plan moving forward. And if you have any questions about it or hear any feedback, positive, I'll take credit for it. Negative, it's probably Paul's fault. But I do love your history thing, so I'm just messing with you. Any questions on that?
Do you have, and I don't know if anybody does, do we have any sense of how many businesses are owned by Marion residents versus how many are outside? Because this is a great PR piece if you are a Marion resident and you own your business in town. I'm super impressed by what you're doing, so you're probably like, wow, that's cool. And then if you don't live in Marion and you see what you're doing and your business is here, equally cool for different reasons, and maybe we'll even lure some more people here. But do we have a sense, you or Lon, or do we know that kind of information?
I think there's quite a few, but I honestly don't know the
Chamber,
answer to that question.
Okay. I'll
Really don't.
follow up
Tom,
with
do
the
you know?
chamber and see. I'm curious, but
Chamber.
Yeah, Chamber will have a good idea how many businesses there are.
One of the things that's interesting, and you think we're a community of 40,000 people, and the very question is, we didn't realize that we have all the businesses. And I mean, this goes back to a conversation we've had, and I don't want to just rehash it, but the idea that having a business license is so critical to public service, knowing who's there, who the contact person is, if they've got any storage of flammable materials, and there's just a whole host of benefits to that. So anyway, I'm sure you'll hear more from that in the future, but just something it'd be a great inventory.
yeah.
No, I agree. I think it's a great idea. Just making that contact, walking in. Hey, I'm here on a nice, positive.
One of my
visit.
guys told me he was really uncomfortable doing it at first. It's like,
Oh, I understand.
I gotta go walk in and talk to somebody.
And everybody, you know what? And then that the word of that, of course, the receptionist will tell everybody else that the police were there, and there's going to be a lot of scuttlebutt and discussion. Why are they there? And so again, it's really a positive thing. But I do remember when I was the CFO, CEO at Vector, I used to get a few phone calls at 2 or 3 in the morning that there's a door unlocked. So I was that contact person back then. So good luck. I think it's a great idea.
Does the day shift take ownership of this?
Yeah, so what we did is we told them, hey, Captain Obvious, don't, if you're on the day shift, don't take the things that are open 24 hours. So the night shift can get in and talk to some businesses and stuff. And they're kind of piecemealing it out on who should do what. So
They were kind of working together on who's going to go to which place. That's cool.
I think it's
Very
a
nice.
very nice personal touch and really reinforces the fact that we're here to serve our community. So I think it's wonderful.
Thank you.
Thanks for reaching higher.
Okay, and I'll reach on or move up to the second item. I believe the next is me also. I was going to give you a quick update on the PSAP consolidation meetings we've had the last couple of days. I'll keep it extremely brief because it's extremely tenuous. We had 2 days worth of meetings on Monday and Tuesday this week. Councilwoman Gedalia and Councilman Sternad and Councilman Jensen were in attendance at portions of these. There was really tough discussions among the stakeholders that were there between the county, Cedar Rapids, and Marion. We did accomplish putting together a planning committee. The chair of the planning committee is Charlie McClintock, who's the director of communication services for the city of Cedar Rapids. I am going to serve as the vice chair of that committee, and then the interim or the assistant fire chief for Cedar Rapids, Andy Olson, is going to be the other vice chair. And then we're supplemented by Chief Krebel on a supporting representative group. And there's a lot of other people that were placed on subcommittees. We were also able to establish a meeting schedule for the remainder of the year. That's really all we accomplished, was just debate, and that was a lot, to be frank, just to get those chairs and those positions filled and a schedule set. And I think I could relate to it. It's kind of like the North Korea, South Korea thing right now. It could all come apart, in my personal opinion, tomorrow. Or we could move forward with a plan. But know that we're trying. There's a lot of opposition and there's a lot of people for it, but it all comes down to money and governance. And when you mix those two things, it's going to be, it'll be a long road if we can accomplish it. And if not, we'll consult with the city manager and city council on Plan B.
Okay. Any questions on that for the chief? Okay. Thanks for your leadership.
Thanks, Chief.
Okay, on to Parks.
Okay, Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance number 18-06, amending chapter 23.02 of the Code of Ordinances relating to Park Board member stipend, final consideration.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve ordinance number 18-06, amending chapter 23.02 of the Code of Ordinances relating to Park Board member stipend. And we can clarify that this is terminating the stipends. So, discussion? Okay, this is the final consideration. All those in favor of ordinance number 18-06, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Okay, the motion is approved. Next, under building inspection, we have a number of ordinances amending city code. I think we had a question from Councilman Jensen about waiving second and third considerations if there's no objection. But is that possible?
That motion can be made, yes. That motion can be made and you can vote on that, and as long as you have enough votes, that's fine.
How many does it take?
You have to have 6 votes.
So everybody here?
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry, guys.
Okay.
I'm not for it.
We'll wait till June.
Thanks.
Okay. So we have a public hearing regarding the proposed adoption of an ordinance amending Chapter 160 of the Code of Ordinances and adopting by reference the International Building Code 2018 edition with amendments and providing penalties. The public hearing is now open. Is there anyone here to speak, or I guess do we need an explanation of this? Maybe just like a quick synopsis of what we're doing?
Sure, thank you, Your Honor. This is just an update on our codes. We're updating to the 2018 International. Well, this one is a building code, and then also the mechanical, plumbing, and property maintenance codes. This has been reviewed by staff, and then it has went to our construction code board, and they have recommended that we go ahead and adopt it with the amendments we have.
Okay. Just stay right there because we'll probably want the same thing on all these. Stay nearby. Okay.
Say ditto.
Is there anyone here to speak in favor of this measure? Anyone here to speak in opposition? Okay. We'll close the public hearing.
Your Honor, I make a motion to approve ordinance number 18-11, amending Chapter 160 of the Code of Ordinances and adopting by reference the International Building Code 2018 edition with amendments and providing penalties. Initial consideration.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve ordinance number 18-11, amending Chapter 160 of the Code of Ordinances and adopting by reference the International Building Code 2018 edition with amendments and providing penalties. And the amendments are what's recommended by staff, right? I mean, they're your amendments.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Initial consideration. Discussion.
We used to meet with contractors when we have new codes. Are we doing that anymore?
We
So
do,
they
if
know
we have
what's there
any
and-
real drastic changes, we will meet with some contractors as well. But our construction code board has 2 general contractors on it, plus architects, engineers. So we met with them.
I'm thinking of the series of the next 7. You know, somebody looks those over to see if it's damaging to any of our local contractors.
Right.
Like changing the plumbing code.
Yeah. And our construction code board is made up of not only just contractors, architects, engineers. We also have a plumbing contractor, actually 2, I think, and then a mechanical contractor, and electrical contractor. So it's made up of the whole group.
And they've been
So you're
part of
working with them. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
And that board has been part of the vetting process on these
Right.
amendments.
They have reviewed these and
Yeah.
that they have recommended that we go ahead and adopt them.
Good.
Okay. Other discussion? All those in favor of ordinance number 18-11, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Motion is approved. We have a public hearing regarding proposed adoption of an ordinance amending Chapter 163 of the Code of Ordinances, and adopting by reference the International Mechanical Code 2018 edition with amendments and providing penalties. The public hearing is open.
This is just the same thing. It's the mechanical code, been reviewed by the construction code board and staff, so.
Okay. Thank you. Is anyone present who wants to speak in favor of this measure? Anyone to speak in opposition? The public hearing is now closed. Councilman Sternad?
This will be a motion to approve ordinance number 18-12, amending Chapter 163 of the Code of Ordinances and adapting by reference the International Mechanical Code 2018 edition with amendments and providing penalties. Initial consideration.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve ordinance number 18-12, amending Chapter 163 of the Code of Ordinances and adopting by reference the International Mechanical Code 2018 edition with amendments and providing penalties. And again, the amendments are amendments to that 2018 edition that are added by our staff. Discussion. None? All those in favor of ordinance number 18-12, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. The motion is approved. The next public hearing is regarding the proposed adoption of an ordinance amending Chapter 161 of the Code of Ordinances and adopting by reference the International Plumbing Code 2018 edition with amendments and providing penalties. The public hearing is now open. Sir?
Same thing, 2018 International Plumbing Code, again, has been reviewed by the Construction Code Board. I should say that the amendments that we have are local amendments, and they are due to items that are in the code that we don't feel is adequate for the city of Marion, so we've changed them. So.
Correct.
Right.
And I think we have had that every year when we've adopted international codes, that we have our own unique situations
Right.
where we make some amendments to accommodate.
Yeah, it could be anything from, in this case, it's, trying to think of the plumbing one that's in there. We have a restroom area that, in the code that says that if you have a certain square footage, you don't have to have a restroom in it for like carry out, like a pizza place or something like that if it's small enough. And we had just amended that out so that we could regulate that, even if it was smaller, we could regulate that so that we could still ask for one.
Sure. Okay, is there anyone present who would want to speak in favor of this measure? Anyone here to speak in opposition? Okay, the public hearing is now closed.
Yes, Your Honor, I have ordinance 1813, amending the Chapter 161 of the Code of Ordinances and adopting by reference the International Plumbing Code of 2018, addition with amendments and providing penalties, the initial consideration.
Second?
It has been moved and seconded to approve ordinance number 18-13, amending Chapter 161 of the Code of Ordinances and adopting by reference the International Plumbing Code 2018 edition with amendments and providing penalties. Initial consideration. Discussion?
I have just a question, and I'm sorry if you covered this when you went over this in more detail recently. Is this something like when we talked about the International Fire Code, the chief referenced working with the surrounding communities to kind of regionalize, if you will, what's best for the area? Do we do that with these as well? Are you in consultation with Cedar Rapids and Hiawatha, et cetera?
Yes, we are. Before we adopted these, or before we had reviewed them, we had met with the city of Hiawatha and Cedar Rapids and Lynn County, and we sat down and discussed them, what's good for the area. We don't get 100%. Stuff that Cedar Rapids wants is some things are a little bit different than what we want. But us and Hiawatha are real close. So.
Okay, great. I'm glad we're having those conversations. Thank you.
Thanks. That's a good point. Other discussion? Okay, all those in favor of ordinance number 18-13, initial consideration, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Okay, the motion is approved. Our next public hearing is regarding the proposed adoption of an ordinance amending Chapter 153 of the Code of Ordinances and adopting by reference the International Property Maintenance Code 2018 edition with amendments and providing penalties. Public hearing is now open.
So the property maintenance code is what we use for our housing and for our code enforcement. It gives us a very bare minimum on existing properties, and we use it a lot for rental housing. So we're just updating it to the 18. No real big changes. There was some fire stuff in there that changed. One of the things that the state has adopted now too is the CO2 detectors in houses, and it is referenced in the property maintenance code as well. So.
Okay. Is there anyone here in favor, to speak in favor of this measure? Anyone to speak in opposition? Okay, the public hearing is now closed. Mr. Jensen.
I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance number 18-14, amending Chapter 153 of the Code of Ordinances and adopting by reference the International Property Maintenance Code 2018 edition with amendments and providing penalties. This is the initial consideration.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve ordinance number 18-14, amending Chapter 153 of the Code of Ordinances and adopting by reference the International Property Maintenance Code 2018 edition with amendments and providing penalties. Discussion. Okay, all those in favor of ordinance number 18-14, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Motion passes. We have another public hearing regarding proposed adoption of an ordinance amending Chapter 50 of the Code of Ordinances relating to nuisance abatement procedure. The public hearing is open.
This one is just changing the way that they can appeal. If we tell them they have to correct something, they don't want to correct it. This is their appeal process. And we're just making this one uniform with the property maintenance code. It's just making them the same. Actually, it's giving, if somebody wants to come in and appeal it, it actually makes it a little more relaxed for them because it gives them a little more time for their appeal and stuff. So that's all it's doing. It's just changing the wording on that.
Okay, thank you. Anyone here to speak in favor of this measure? Anyone to speak in opposition? Public hearing is closed.
Your Honor, I move that we approve ordinance number 18-15, amending Chapter 50 of the Code of Ordinances relating to nuisance abatement procedure, initial consideration.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve ordinance number 18-15, amending Chapter 50 of the Code of Ordinances relating to nuisance abatement procedure, initial consideration. Discussion. Okay. All those in favor of approving ordinance number 18-15, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. The motion is approved. And our next public hearing is regarding the proposed adoption of an ordinance amending Chapter 165 of the Code of Ordinances relating to the Housing Code. Public hearing is now open.
Right, so the housing code relies very strongly on the property maintenance code and refers to it a number of different times in the ordinance. So we're just updating that to the 2018 property maintenance code as well. So
To be consistent with that.
what's that?
It's being updated to be consistent with the amended 2018 code of the
Yes.
property maintenance code.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone here to speak in favor of this measure? Anyone to speak in opposition? Public hearing is now closed. Mr. Brandt?
Yes, Your Honor, I make a motion to approve ordinance number 18-16, amending Chapter 165 of the Code of Ordinances relating to the Housing Code, initial consideration.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve ordinance number 18-16, amending Chapter 165 of the Code of Ordinances relating to the Housing Code. Discussion. Okay. All those in favor of ordinance number 18-16, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, please say no. The motion is approved. Ms. Sternad?
I make a motion to approve ordinance number 18-10, amending Chapter 63 of Code of Ordinances, establishing the speed limit on Albernet Road as 35 miles per hour from the northern city limits, except for the area from 400 feet south of Oak Ridge School Drive to 400 feet north of Echo Hill Road, which shall be 25 miles per hour when children present to the southern terminus of Albernet Road. Remove code section 5D, 6G, and 6H, and add 5AC, second consideration.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve ordinance number 18-10, amending Chapter 63 of the Code of Ordinances, establishing the speed limit on Albernet Road as 35 miles per hour from the northern city limits, except the area from 400 feet south of the Oak Ridge School Drive to 400 feet north of Echo Hill Road, which shall be 25 miles per hour when children are present, to the southern terminus of Albernet Road. Okay, discussion.
Just a question about what's in parentheses. Are the code sections we're removing sections that signify a higher speed limit? Is that what that
Correct.
means?
So 5D, 6G, and 6H all have the 45 mile an hour. It's basically you're striking those code sections out, and then the addition of 5AC is the 35 mile an
Okay,
hour.
that's what I just wanted to confirm before the vote. Thank you.
Other discussion? Okay, all those in favor of approving ordinance number 18-10, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Motion is approved. For the next two items, I'll turn over the gavel to Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay, on to planning and development. Paul?
Yes, Your Honor. I have ordinance number 1809, amending the Code of Ordinances to rezone property from rural restricted A1 to medium-density single-family residential R2 located west of Albernet Road and south of Echo Hill Road in Marion, Iowa, Integrity Custom Homes, Inc. This is the final consideration.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Paul and a second by Will. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Those abstaining? Mayor?
Next, I'd like to make a motion to pass resolution number 26885, approving the final plat and memorandum of agreement for Bedford Heights, second edition, located south of Echo Hill Road and west of Albernet Road. This is WEX Incorporated.
Second.
Okay, a motion by Steve and a second by Paul. Any discussion or questions? Okay, all those in favor of resolution number 26885, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And we'll note the mayor's abstention. And I will relinquish the gavel back to the mayor. Okay, Your Honor, I move that we approve resolution number 26886, approving the purchase of property described as 530 through 540 12th Street, Marion, from Eva Jane Schaefer, Revocable Trust, in the amount of $136,500.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 26886, approving the purchase of property described as 530 to 540 12th Street, Marion, from Eva Jane Schaefer Revocable Trust in the amount of $136,500. Discussion.
Your Honor.
Sir.
If you'd like to give me a brief on this, this is the duplex across the street. It's the last house on the block. There was an executive session in which there was a conversation about proceeding to purchase on this, and we went in that direction, and we've got a secured purchase agreement, and so we'd like to move forward with the approval of that. It would be the last block, and the last lot on the blocks. There would be no more property acquisitions in that area. I do want to point out that there's 2 tenants living in it. One person is in a month-to-month lease. The other person has about 6 months left, and so we would need to remedy those situations in the event that we need to demo the building before the lease is up. But clearly, we would make some contact with them, talk to them about trying to relocate them in the best possible way to kind of. I don't think there's any strong desire to remove anybody in a real expedited manner until we have any kind of project timeline for the development in the uptown area. So, any questions on Gabby? I know this wasn't on the agenda on Tuesday, but we're trying to get it closed out.
So neither of the current residents are the owner. They're both renters?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
And so are they aware of this situation, that the owner's selling to the city, and at some point?
We have not made contact with them at this point, but as soon as there's a authorization to move forward, we would do that.
Okay.
So I don't have any indication from the owner whether that's occurred yet or not.
Okay,
So.
thank you.
Other discussion? Okay. All those in favor of resolution number 26886, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. The motion is approved.
I make a motion directing staff to draft a memorandum of understanding with Culver Enterprises LLC regarding tax increment financing incentives.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to direct staff to draft a memorandum of understanding with Culver Enterprises LLC regarding tax increment financing incentives. Discussion. Okay, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Motion is approved. On this next public hearing,
Yes.
could you give us a brief synopsis of what it's about?
This is the one for the designation of the second phase of Sunny Ridge.
Great, okay. All right. Public hearing is regarding a proposed designation of the 2018 Workforce Housing Urban Revitalization Area. Public hearing is now open. Do we need any more explanation?
If my technology will cooperate.
Thank you.
I wasn't aware that me being able to get my screen to duplicate was worthy of recognition, but apparently it is. All right. Yeah, I just wanted to bring this up. This is the second phase of the development of what's considered to be workforce housing out on the eastern edge of the community. Chad Pelly has already got the first phase under development, which is 48 units. This phase, the second one, is 44 units. The city is participating because this one has received workforce housing tax credits from the state of Iowa, which have a required match component. But you can see from the picture here that they're proposing several units on site. And I would say that right now these are a caliber of units that are really kind of new to Marion's market, but they are in reaction to the housing needs assessment that the city had completed.
Okay. Is there anyone here to speak in favor of this measure? Anyone to speak in opposition? Okay, the public hearing is now closed. Councilman Sternad.
Make a motion to approve resolution number 26887, adopting the proposed plan for the 2018 Workforce Housing Urban Revitalization Area.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 26887, adopting the proposed plan for the 2018 Workforce Housing Urban Revitalization Area. Discussion? Have you been inside the units?
I have not been inside any of the completed ones yet. I did suggest to the developer that it might be worthwhile to extend an invitation to the council to go out and tour one of the units that are finished before they occupy them.
I think it would be a good idea because I think it will really help people understand why these are different. And
yeah, and Medco has arranged similar tours in the past for businesses of projects that the city has been involved in, but there's this one and there's several other residential ones that we've done that I think would be worthwhile for council to go see.
So a field trip is in order?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
okay, further discussion? None? Okay. All those in favor of approving resolution number 26887, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Motion is approved. Councilman Draper.
Yes, Your Honor. Ordinance number 18-17, designating an area of Marion, Iowa as the 2018 Workforce Housing Urban Revitalization Area. The initial consideration.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve ordinance number 18-17, designating an area of Marion, Iowa as the 2018 Workforce Housing Urban Revitalization Area. Discussion.
Just love, I like that we're, again, having more diversity in our housing stock. And is it true, Lon, that we probably, after this, we've satisfied the requirement for Marion based on the needs, et cetera?
We're at a point where we really would want to have our housing needs assessment updated again because this type of housing, which is really I'd consider to be the top of the rental market, this would get about a fourth of the way there for what was identified in the assessment. But then you also have the two projects in Uptown that would add about another 150 units over the next couple of years. The study identified a need for close to 500. What this does, though, is this would be the last one that we can do community-wide, because you have to have that housing needs assessment updated to receive a designation from the state to allow for it, and that designation has expired.
Okay, thank you.
The only other thing I would point out is that this urban revitalization area is specific to the lot that you can see on the screen, so nobody else could come in and apply. It's only this project.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor of approving ordinance number 18-17, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, please say no. Motion is approved. We have citizen presentations at this time. Is there anyone here to address the council on any topic? Okay. Seeing that there's none, we'll move on to council discussion time. Start with Mr. Sternad.
I have nothing, Your Honor. Thank you.
My second grader has their first play tonight up at Starry. She gets one line in the play. So I'm going to drop the mic and say bye and go up there right now.
Get
Sorry,
it
you'll have
recorded.
to fill me in on what you say, Paul.
Have fun.
Have fun. Okay, I'm going to rival Paul here. I'll try to keep it brief. This isn't historical, but I just have had a lot since our last meeting. I want to just say kudos to everyone on the city showcase. The weather cooperated. Everyone was there. It was so much fun. Just what a great event for Marion. I don't know what the turnout is comparatively to past years, but for the time that I was there, I thought it was great. People of all ages, there's something for everyone. And again, getting people excited about what's going on in Marion or signing up for boards, everything that could be. I thought it was cool. So I just wanted to publicly say thank you. I won't say anything on PSAP because Chief covered that. Yesterday I was in Des Moines for serving in the capacity as the advisory council to the governor's STEM board, and I just want to say, as it relates to Marion, there are a lot of exciting opportunities on the horizon with the passage of Executive Order 1. They're establishing a clearinghouse for all businesses across the state of Iowa by 2019 for economic development incentives to partner with students, and so I'm hoping that Marion will see this. I know we have with Medco, the Community Promise, already working with both school districts, and it's a great opportunity, and now there will be money and grant opportunities tied to that. And not only does that help us build our talent pipeline for our local business workforce, it creates opportunities for students to get in and see what goes on and figure out their future paths. So that's really exciting. Today we had a CMPO meeting, and I just want to say thanks to Kesha, who isn't here, but if she listens to these, because we met before that just to be briefed and talk about what's going on, and she's just clearly a dedicated advocate for what's going on. We secured additional funding for the 10-foot wide right-of-way, basically from Hy-Vee to Walmart on both sides, coming, I think, in 2021. Is that what they said? It's a couple years, because you have to today plan for what's coming. But anyway, she's obviously a wealth of knowledge there, so thanks to her. Good luck to American Idol finalist Maddie Poppy from Clarksville. If you're an American Idol fan, Monday, let's hope that Iowa brings home another winner, among many things. And then lastly, to our local celebrity, Nancy Grendel, I say thank you for covering us for all these years with the Marion Times. I know you are moving on to greener pastures. We'll miss you in this capacity, but I'm sure we'll see you around. So best of luck, and thanks for all you've done for promoting the city and being accurate and being everywhere. So thank you.
Nancy, what are you doing?
Up in Hiawatha on Tower Terrace Road. It's a whole new ball of wax. It's scheduling patients, finding drivers.
Okay.
Doing a lot with the patients and the fundraisers and the kids.
Well, good luck with that. Yeah, we miss you. We see you do a terrific job writing on Marion and supporting it, so we'll miss you there.
Corey Munson will be coming back.
He's
He
back.
had been the editor
Yeah, I remember.
a while back, and he will be coming back to be the editor in the office.
Okay.
So that's a positive thing.
Again, I like to say at the showcase we had a couple weeks ago is the one thing we got to show off was our new fire aerial truck. That was really cool, and it was really fun to get a ride to the top. So I think everybody here in the City Council had that opportunity. So I was up there with Nick, and the view was amazing. And again, also we got the Marion Arts Festival here in 2 days. That is one of the best things that the City of Marion has had, and that has become such a showpiece for the City of Marion, for the entire Midwest, and even sometimes the country. So that is a great way to bring people into Marion, and it sounds like the weather's going to cooperate. I always tell people if you want to plan something, plan it on that day because they will have sunshine probably 95% of the time. So.
The picture up on the screen is the 360-degree panoramic from the aerial ladder truck. Yeah. It's hard to zoom in and see everything, but you can. I literally just took a panoramic and walked in a circle. But if you really zoom in.
Who needs a drone when you got a bucket truck? Yeah.
See if I can find it.
Rent that out for parties?
That's cool.
Nice.
That right there, that's the Alliant Tower, so you can see just how far you can see.
Okay. Paul,
Yes, Your Honor.
good to have you here.
Thank you. I like to call this the one that got away. And Lon showed a minute ago a building at 10th and 7th that many of us know as the Maidwright Building. In 1848, there was a frame building there. It had a grocery store and a shoe store. Still had 40 different units, but that's what was in there. And it was the Welch and Mincer Building. Mr. Welch was also the postmaster, so the post office was in that building as well. And as it went along, they had a fella in 1882, a young man by the name of Chamberlain, 20 years old, who graduated from pharmacy school in New York and came to Marion, Iowa, and he began to work for a doctor called Dr. Owen. And in that era, they often formed partnerships, pharmacies and doctors, which is the case in this one. They formed a partnership, and they started patenting different medications, including what they considered a cure for cholera. And they built a little building behind that building, and they developed a little lab there, and they eventually had a patent on 23 different medications. They moved along. They had at one time 6 wagons that loaded up on a Monday and went out in the country selling their different medications. And they also sold them at other stores. They say they had a very thin little bottle, but it was big, so it made it look like there was a lot in it. But that was what they did for a living. They in 1882, they tore down the wood building. Wood building was kind of interesting. It was a frame building, of course, with a frame sidewalk, brick, wood sidewalk, and it was elevated 3 foot above the street. So you could pull a wagon up there and unload it without getting out in the street on the mud. So when they built the new one, they lowered it, but they built the current building in 1882, and it was built out of bricks from the Cook Manufacturing Company in Marion, Iowa. So that is truly a homegrown brick building that was made from bricks that were developed out of Indian Creek. I call it the one that got away for a couple of reasons. Chamberlain, after Dr. Owen died, moved to Des Moines, and all the patents were in his name and not Dr. Owen's. So he left the town, went to Des Moines, and continued to manufacture different kinds of drugs and he was up at one time to over 50 patents. He later sold that company to a little company out of St. Louis who bought it and all the patents and developed it. At one time, he had offices in Canada, Australia, South America. They become a very wealthy family. They build hotels and a lot of things in Des Moines, Iowa. And it seems like they're one that got away. Had we been able to keep them here, that would have been our manufacturer. But it's something to think that one person graduated from pharmacy school and was able to do what that person did. So that's what I have for this evening.
Thank you, Paul. For my part, I just want to congratulate the folks who had the groundbreaking on the volleyball facility, as well as the folks who had the ribbon cutting on the new shop uptown, Scout. Those happened since our last meeting. We also had the wonderful openings of the Encore Cafe at both Law Park and the library. And as I said when I spoke at that, we have a lot of ribbon cuttings and a lot of great things happening, but few of them felt so good as that opening, because it really was about serving people's needs. And they fed, I believe, 95 people at Law Park on that first day, and there must have been over 50 at the library on that first day there. So it just shows that there was a need, that people wanted this service, and to see the collaboration of the various entities that came together to make it happen. I want to recognize our Parks Department as well as the library staff for really working hard with those other entities to accommodate the program, and it's being used as a pilot by the state of Iowa and as an example for other cities to follow. So congratulations to everybody involved in that. It was just wonderful. We also dedicated a Habitat for Humanity home in Marion on 22nd Street and welcomed a new family to Marion. That was a really wonderful thing to be a part of. Great family, and they're excited to be part of Marion and part of the neighborhood there. So we had our employee appreciation breakfast, and I want to thank the council people who showed up and joined me for that, as well as for the other events. And we had Bike to Work Week events this week, and that was a lot of fun. And I want to encourage everyone to attend and support the festival this weekend. It is the top 25 in the country festival. And for reaching higher recognitions, again, the Parks Department and the library for their work on the Encore Cafe. Thank you for reaching higher. Ryan Miller, I got a really wonderful, very long email from a resident who just couldn't say enough good things about how Ryan cooperated with their homeowners association to fix some drainage issue that they had in the neighborhood. And he just went out of his way to be helpful to them and to help them think through the solutions and to work through the solutions. So thanks, Ryan. I know that takes time away from your other duties, and but again, that's really what we're all about, is providing good services to people and helping them to improve their quality of life and having them be satisfied that their city is serving them well. So thank you. And I want to also recognize Kesha as Renee did. When we go to the MPO meetings, it's clear that she's really on top of things and looking out for Marion's interest, and she's done a great job in securing funds from the MPO for our projects, for our trail projects, and she represents Marion very well at those meetings. So That's what I have. Thank you. Go ahead.
At this time, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn to closed session meeting regarding personnel matters. This is the city manager performance evaluation as permitted under section 21.51I of the Code of Iowa.
I have reviewed the proposed subject matter for the closed session and find the same to be appropriate under section 21.51 subsection I.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to adjourn to closed session regarding personnel matters. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry, we have to do it. Roll call vote.
Thank you.
I always forget that. Sorry.
And Lon is requesting this session, I'm assuming?
Yeah, I had given continuing authorization for it in writing to our other city attorney.
Thank you.
Mr. Draper?
Aye.
Mr. Jensen?
Yes.
Mayor Abalosely?
Yes.
Ms. Gedalia?
Yes.
Mr. Brandt? Mr. Sternad?
Yes.